Okay, so we are off. This is a 2 out of 3, 90% easy speed run between Pawn and DreamFox. So the main form movement you're going to be seeing here is Kaho is going to be rolling. Fastest way to move around, and also invincible, so it lets you bypass enemies really easily. And then you can also press jump and roll at the same time and allow yourself to roll through the air.
Yep. It's like any good speed game, we have to be able to roll around everywhere. It's just not fast enough.
Exactly. So this is the first area of the game, the grove. A lot of the small enemies here are very random, so it makes going through here kind of a challenge sometimes. On this category, it's not too big of a deal if you take a few hits, because you have a lot of life, as you will see in the top of the screen.
Yeah, this is notorious for driving people nuts in some of the harder difficulties, but here in easy, it's frustrating to be hit by enemies, but thankfully isn't run killing like in Insane, where you only have 1 life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for the most part, just trying to see as clean a movement as possible through these and trying not to get hit by any of the enemies. It'd be great if they could manage their health, save a little bit of time, maybe not having to hit the bell at the end. But
yeah,
aside from that, it's just a whole lot of clean movement.
So you're going to see our runners going out of their way here to collect some money from these chests, and the reason for that is after this area we have to stop and make one quick purchase for an item that is used for most of the rest of the run.
Yeah, we have 1 shopping point at any point in this game.
Yeah, it's very quick.
All the rest of the items are going to come from bosses, which we're about to see the first one on Jim's screen here. So Adia is the boss that we have coming up here, and we have a trick to where we can do a quick kill a couple different ways. It looks like both are going for the safer one shot. So there's about a frame or 2 where you can actually hit that tail. Oh, and Pawn actually got it. Where it instantly kills the Adia on the hitting the orb, which is pretty sweet. For whatever reason, that's like the only object in the game to have any sort of crit hitbox is Adia's Pearl.
Yeah, very strange. But I guess it makes sense, because it's kind of like you can't really hit it under normal circumstances. So here's the shop. Very quickly buying the Crystal Seed, which gives you 1.5 times damage on your melee and ranged attacks for 15 seconds.
So we'll be using this against pretty much every boss here at the beginning.
Just making their way through some platforming here to get to the next boss, which comes up very quickly. You see Pawn doing a menu there to remove an item, which actually changes, passively refills your HP. And the reason for that is, in order to get boss items to drop, you have to start and finish the fight with the same amount of HP, which means you can't get hit and you also can't heal.
Yeah, so easy starts you off not only with the largest health pool, but with a couple items. One of which, the one that gets removed, does heal you. So yeah, like he was saying, since obviously you don't want to get hit, but we'll remove that first just in case you do go into the fight injured. If you get healed, you can still get the item.
This is Dubella on on both their screens now. You're gonna see why she is kind of
in the
community.
Ooh. We got a hit by Pawn, so he has to go back. I don't think either of them safety saved going into this.
Yeah, they didn't do like the real safety save. Hit the bell on the way there.
So one of the things that makes the races really interesting, in my opinion, even amongst maybe not the greatest PB times, is the fact that you do need 2 perfect bosses throughout the runs in order to have the quickest strats going through, because they'll drop items that just allow you to kill the future bosses that much quicker. So if you make 1 mistake, no matter like our world record holder versus like the last place person can lose you know, several minutes depending on where you make a mistake against a boss.
Yeah, definitely. It makes the races more interesting.
So even though Pawn looks like he's a little bit behind right now, he definitely still has the chance to be able to come back. So nobody's ever truly out of a race here at all. We got Dream coming up to the subterranean graves here, which is one of my favorite areas because it's, I think, one of the more movement-intensive parts of the game.
Yeah,
a lot of
fun, like vertical
platforming.
platforming.
Yeah. Except for the dang bats.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, got beta of this game. Right now, there's only allowed to be one bat that spawns in any room at any point in time. There didn't used to be a limit back in the beta, so...
So I was told. I'm too much of a new boy to have experienced.
I never experienced it personally, but I've seen gameplay of the beta, and yeah, I can't imagine trying to go through this without being hit on insane.
Yeah. So you see DreamFox is in the underwater section. Underwater, if you roll on the ground, you have the same speed as you would normally have as rolling above water. But if you are off the ground, you move a lot slower. So optimally, you want to be just rolling as much as possible here.
Yeah,
and this includes jump rolls, but they're also the same speed as normal.
Even more important to make sure that you're getting the correct roll rhythm.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had one of the few true detours of the game in this area to pick up the garden key to allow us access to a later part of the game. For the most part, this game is pretty much just running from boss to boss and killing them as fast as possible. But since it is a Metroidvania, there are certain things that are locked without certain items being held.
And a casual playthrough, it's more non-linear. Like, you can do bosses in a different order. But obviously, everyone's going to be doing the same order here, which is the fastest order.
Alright, so we've got this one minion here before the boss on DreamFox's screen that we try and shoot with the arrow. Now, we got a passive from Adia when he killed her, that's a poison clouds that you see. So shooting her once allows the that minion to die, or else you will get hit in the middle of the fight, and we don't like that. We got dog spawns. Frida, for the most part, is pretty simple. It's a lot of playing safe and just kind of shooting from the side, like Dream is doing right now. He's getting really bad RNG though with all of these dog spawns, because obviously you can see the arrows are taking time to go through the dogs instead of just hitting Frida.
Yeah.
Ideally, we'd have a couple laser charges in there so you can go in and get some actual melee attacks on it, which do more damage than the arrows, but overall, a nice, safe, clean fight.
Yeah. Faster fights, you can just like run up in melee and kind of react to what she's doing, but I don't blame them for just doing safe arrow strats in the corner.
Oh yeah, no. Especially in a race. The melee has a more likely chance of her actually teleporting on you and losing time that way as well. I didn't get lucky with the bombs. We got Pawn making his way up. Let's see if he can get any better RNG on this fight and make up some seconds.
Yeah, but now he's a little over a minute behind, I'd say.
So we're coming up on the door that needs to be unlocked by the key that we picked up earlier. Just have a couple of spiky windmills to go through, and more water mechanics. This is the last bit of the water that you'll see in the run, though.
Until the end, yeah.
Oh, right. A little bit at the end. Last heavy water spot.
Just a tad.
Pawn's actually got better RNG with just some laser fires.
Yeah, no dogs. Very nice. So this is a White Leaf Memorial Park. Don't spend too much time in this area, but go through here to find a familiar face of the boss.
So he's popping the crystal seed now because it'll last through most of this fight. And hitting the bell first in case she does give a dive again, which she's not. The bell is actually being really nice this time. Now he is getting hit on this, and that's okay. This is the one boss fight that it really doesn't matter, because the item it gives, I believe, is just an on-hit heal, which we don't want anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to worry about getting hit on this fight. You can kind of go as ham as possible on it. And just hope for no dives.
Now, DreamFox is a cat. So this
Cat.
is one of 2 movement upgrades, sort of. The cat moves faster than the human form of Kaho. And in this form, what you're going to see is a lot of roll jumping into melee attacks in the air. And the reason for that is when you roll as cat form, there's a small stagger animation after the end of the roll. So doing a melee cancels that out and ends up being much faster than just moving as human Kaho rolling.
For anybody that's played Dark Souls, it's basically fat rolling versus rolling the same. So we do an attack to cancel out that last bit of roll animation on the cat. Save yourself quite a bit of time overall.
And the only reason that we have to go back to human form Kaho is to climb ladders, because cats can't climb ladders apparently, and to fight bosses, because you can't use items as the cat.
Yep, other than that, we're going to be through pretty much all the movement section from here on out, sticking as a cat. So you can see a couple of these failed jumps, where rolled jumps on DreamFox's stream, where you can really tell that difference of roll animation between Kaho and cat form. How much time it really can eat at you.
I'm also a cat now. He had a good Rebel fight, no dives, good RNG.
Alright, so Dream just quickly glanced into that room for a second, because we're going back for a warp crest right now. The main goal of the story right now is to be collecting 4 different crests so you can enter into Karst Castle and go and purify the queen. We go and trigger that bell first because the crest that we're going for now is the warp crest. It allows us to go to very specific bells throughout the game, which that happens to be one of them. So we go do that to place ourselves closer to the next 2 bosses that are coming up. That way we don't have to go run all the way back. Super difficult mini-boss too. Yeah, not too much to say about that.
Frame perfect, I believe, actually.
I don't know why he's become such a meme in our community, but poor Dark Souls boss.
I mean, I think like he has all like this ominous music playing, and then he pops out of the ground and he just dies in 2 hits. Pretty funny.
Well, because some of the other mini bosses that we come across actually take a little bit of time and effort to beat, and you just see him use the thread twice, which we got from Frida, and just kind of keep roll jumping your way through.
Yeah. It's a minor inconvenience on the way to the warp crest. So the warp crest is in the grove, so we have to backtrack and then access this area that you can only go through as a cat, because it's a small little corridor.
Casually, this is where I got stuck because I didn't realize I was actually backtracking in the game.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, where in the world am I supposed to go now? But this is the only real heavy backtracking of this game. For the most part, you can just keep going forward and exploring any other area. But now we got the warp crest, so you can go directly back to that bell that he got once he gets to any bell. Thankfully, you can warp from any bell.
But only warp 2 specific bells, which is, you know,
right.
I guess it's fair. Would be convenient for the speedrun to just be able to go to any bell that you
Would it though? I don't know that we'd actually save any time over different bell placements compared to what we already see.
Something I'll have to think about.
Another cool thing about the bell is it restores any of the active items that you've used. So that's the only way to restore the items as well. So you have to make sure that you're constantly hitting bells throughout the run so that you actually have these active items to proc again. So
You'll see the number on like the item icon in the top left, and that's how many charges you have. And
so
once that runs out, you have to hit a bell.
DreamFox fighting the Arsonist, which is in my opinion, one of the hardest one of the hardest ones to learn from the start, just because there's a lot going on her screen.
Yeah, for sure.
To really take note of. And oh, he's got some time to spare, but that hurts.
DreamFox takes a hit, so he can't get the boss item anymore. Decides to reset to still get the boss item. Probably a good idea.
Oh yeah. He's got the time to do it, and the item that drops from her is such a good passive item for helping.
But does he know he has the time to do it? That is the question.
Fair. Hers is important enough that I would go through a reset on, for sure. So, one strat that he's actually using on this fight, you'll notice that little bit of charged energy as he's getting his arrows up. We got a quicker charge from Frida's crest, or the crest behind Frida. It actually does deal more damage to just sit there and do a slight charge instead of just spam the arrows like we did on Frida. So it does save time if you can find that rhythm. We've got Pawn entering the fight right as Drim finished his, so you can tell it's actually a relatively close race again now because of that hit that he took.
Yeah. So, for beating Arsonist without taking damage or healing, you get the Pocket Incensory, which adds a flame element to your attack, but really all it does is add 0.5 damage to any hit.
And adds a stagger effect.
Right, and the reason this is so good is because the Bogman patches hits 104 times, so it nearly triples the damage you do with each patch now.
Yeah, the patches become pretty insane at this point. Because thankfully it doesn't apply to just your, arrows and melee, actually applying to the items as well. Pawn got a really good placement of the finish of the fight.
Yeah. You see Drim over here in a room with a bunch of cats. He has to do a short detour to get a key to open up the path to the next boss and the final crest.
So we got an elevator to my personal favorite boss fight, casually. But
a lot of people are in agreement with that.
There's just so much. She's got a lot of really fun mechanics to deal with. And actually, I think has one of the best just actual personalities from any bosses. She actually has some story stuff that you get to interact with. But as you can see, it's pretty much run up, thread her twice, run back while she charges her sword, and unleash Bachman Rain on her. And that's that. We did get a item that's now going to be replacing the Crystal Seed from her called the Tainted Missive, which is a more powerful damage upgrade at the cost of a little bit of your health.
Yeah.
So that's the item that we'll now be using instead of the Crystal Seed going forward. Now as we can see.
Yeah. The last crest that we got here allows us to charge the arrows to a new level. And the crest we got from Arsonist allows you to air dash, which is the last movement upgrade you're going to be seeing a lot.
Now is probably the longest movement section of the game between bosses. And this is definitely the most intensive movement because you have to constantly be switching from cat and Kaho form.
Yep.
Throughout this entire place because there's so much vertical movement with all these ladders. So it's a lot of fun to get once you get used to all of the movement on here, but
yeah, it's definitely the most technical area of the game. And
definitely,
the easiest place to take a bunch of damage and just die from instant kill spikes.
Yep. So all those spikes on the grounds are auto deaths. Doesn't matter how much HP you have at that time. So this area has plenty of them, along with the subterranean graves are probably two most deadly areas for that.
Not to mention the this area.
Enemies deal so much damage here.
Yeah, these skeletons with the big swords there. I'll take a big chunk of your HP.
Oh, no safety save on Dream's screen. We're coming up to the only double boss fight in the game.
This is going to be the Lupiar and Magnolia fight. A lot of runners not a big fan of this fight. Lupiar can roll around, so use your own tactics against you. Looks like DreamFox gets good RNG. That was close.
So Lupiar has a chance to just sit there and roll around several times and just miss, like avoid all those Bachman patches. So ideally, we can do exactly what Dream did and just hit everything with those Bachman patches, thread once, and get onto Magnolia. Unfortunately, when she dodges everything, it makes the fight a lot worse because you can't even use arrows against her. So you're stuck hoping to get some melee shots in without her hitting you, and she has just a lot of quick attacks that can just ruin your run.
Yeah, definitely. So, Han is also coming up to this area. Let's see if he takes the safety save.
Yep.
Yeah,
Taking the save.
this is the last backtrack that the runners will be doing. They're going back to Car City real quick to pick up a leaf upgrade, which is your melee weapon, and this is what allows you to get the true ending in this game.
Yeah, so before he took that warp, you saw Dream actually use the Bachman patches. There's actually a ladder that's hidden behind some stone or some sort of scenery there. But there's a lever all the way at the top of the screen on that, which the Bachman patches thankfully hit. So you just pop that real quick. You can actually hear the sound of the lever being hit, and then you can warp, and the next time you go back there, that all that stone is gone, so you can just go through the ladder.
Yeah, it's one of the big reasons that Bachman patches is like kind of necessary for a run. The other items you can kind of go without and still make it through, but getting rid of that huge detour is very helpful.
You can hit it with the fairy, which we haven't talked too much about yet, but it's hoping for lucky strikes at that point.
Right.
So in addition to the active items that you guys can all see, there's a secret code that can summon a fairy. That is also counted as a consumable item once per save that runners will use at least early on against bosses to get some extra damage in here and there.
Just shoots a bunch of blue lasers down. You'll see it one more time against Queen.
Bye, Kath. Just gonna let her sleep there for a little bit.
Yeah. If you don't talk to her, she doesn't die.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. We got the last mini boss of the game coming up here, which has some really fun mechanics here. So we'll see. She has the ability to clone herself. So it starts off as just 2 clones, and as you deal damage over time, it turns into up to 4. We killed her quick enough to not ever have to see that, but it's a little tricky to kind of tell how or which one to hit, because one is fake. But thankfully, in the game, for whatever reason, the clone flying closest to the ground is always the real one, which even the developer didn't realize they had put into the game.
Well, you know, the clones are probably made out of a lighter material, so they explode a bit higher.
Of course, yeah. Oh, we just got one more screen here, and Dream's going to be coming up on the Queen. Pretty good time, too.
The last bell.
So, we'll see if he can pull off the 1 cycle on the Queen here in the first phase. Nah, didn't get the arrows shots off. So the cool thing is you can actually take that hit, and you can fire the arrows off right before you get hit on there if you're a little late to the first round of arrows, and be fine. But we'll see how well he's able to get through.
On easy mode, at least.
Yes, on easy you're able to. On hard or on any other mode, you take too much damage, and you won't be able to use the. You'll either die or won't be able to use the Tainted Missive again. But you're still able to get through the second phase of the Queen pretty quick.
Yep. So this third phase is unlocked by getting the leaf upgrade. This is what counts as the true ending of the game. And it's probably the easiest phase out of the 3.
Oh, definitely. A couple quick Bachman patches, volley of arrows, and done. So GG to Mr. DreamFox here. Pawn's not too far behind, though. especially for having taken a hit against a boss. And a sub 25 for getting hit on Arsonist is a really solid time as well. Oh, Pawn actually still has a screen shake on. That's a setting that's adjustable in the game that I know a lot of runners will turn off just to be able to see a little bit better. Every hit of the Bachman patch will shake your screen. Can get a little distracting.
Yeah, definitely. On the second Mobile fight, you pretty much can't see anything.
Yeah. I didn't realize that for the longest time, personally, and I was so grateful for somebody for telling me that. He played it a little safe. Oh, he's doing older stats, actually. So ideally, you can get through that without get through that phase of the queen without her going down again. That way, you keep your tainted missive into this part, and you can use just this volley of arrow tracks until the triangles get too close, and then just hit her twice with the thread and she dies. But he's doing a little bit of backup strats, which will cost him a bit of time on the final phase of the fight, but got through that relatively quickly.
Yeah, it's better to just use your items to kill the second phase, because there's that spinning
definitely
triangle thing that prevents you from doing damage at all other than your items.
Well, you can hit it as the cat, but it's definitely a lot faster to just suck it up and go into this part without. Ooh. Got a little too close to that white orb. Those white lights are damageable up until they fade, so as long as they're still that bright white, then they will be hurting you if you touch them.
Hopefully he gets a better execution here on that.
Ooh, there you go. That was nice. That's how the old fight used to go, except you would pop a thread there, yeah. I'm not sure if he was intending to do it like that, or just forgot to switch over to his threads, but...
He'll be fine. I'll have more HP than last time, at least.
Oh, he's got one more thread going into this part, too. Oh, I was close again to getting hit by that white light. I'm a little nervous on that one. But a 2802 is not a bad run either.
Well, considering his PB is like 2730 or something like that, pretty solid run. Would have been a PB if he didn't die on Queen there.
Yeah, it's true. All in all, a very good first race. Just getting hit at the Queen right there at the end skewed it a little bit more than what it really was, but both had a couple of mess ups here and there, but all in all, pretty solid. Should be an exciting second race. Now we can hear the lovely end credit music, which plays for several minutes, is really kind of nice to calm your nerves after a run. Because Momodora has some really good music in it.
Well, we'll see if we get to hear it, or if they're just going to move on to the next race real quick.
Just a little bit of pause while we allow the runners to get ready here for their second race.
Yep. Yeah, they should be starting any second now.
We'll need to get Pawn onto the same screen as Drim real quick. All right, looks like we're getting ready for round 2.
Yep. And they're off.
We're off. So let's see if we can maybe get a little bit more clean races from these guys and see what goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, if Pawn didn't get hit on Rubella, it would have been a lot closer.
Yep.
Even with that, it was pretty close at one point, a little bit after Arsonist.
So another fun fact about early forms of this game is that intro used to be a lot longer and have a lot more lore behind it. So instead of like the 11, 12 seconds there of talking to the dude at the beginning, it was a couple of minutes of just exposition.
I did not know that. Thank God that is not
It's like, as a runner of the game, I'm very glad that this is changing. Because, yeah, not fun to have to sit through just opening cutscenes to start a run. I thought we were about to have Pawn fall into the spikes there at the start. So again, just trying to get through here as clean as possible. I always like seeing everybody's kind of adaptation to the Grove, because I know there's, for the most part, everyone tries to do the same thing, but there's definitely a couple of runners I've noticed do a few different strategies on some of these rooms to try and save some time. Or just movement that they feel is a little bit more clean.
For sure. It's nice that there's like different ways of going through rooms, and then also just seeing how runners adapt to like the imps moving around and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like this imp on Pawn screen, for example, is blocking them from doing a roll. So,
You got good elevator imp RNG though.
yeah, the imps here can really screw you over and make you miss that elevator cycle if you don't react to it properly.
Not a whole lot of time to really lose here at the start. Let's see if they can get, either of them can get the quick kill this time. I forgot that we had Fox miss the quick kill the first time.
Yeah.
Pawn actually hit it.
On using the pause buffer strats.
Oh, we got a deal walk-in. Bad RNG. Oh, but he still got the kill. Nice.
Yeah.
Fox not too far behind. He got really good fairy luck. It looked like she was able to deal a whole lot of damage to Adia as well. So even though Pawn got the kill, Dream set up in a lot better of a position right there towards the end of the screen. So really only a couple seconds behind right now.
Normally you would say that quick kill saves about 15 seconds over the non-quick kill strats, but if you got a good fairy, that can be a great equalizer. And sometimes the fairy is actually even faster than the quick kill if you just summon it right away.
Yeah, the fairy has a chance to, if it strikes the orb, it does the same kind of critical damage that any other attacks do. So it has the chance, if all the lasers spawn in the right spot, to be able to, yeah, burn down Adia pretty quickly from there. We'll see if they can get through Lubella, Diveless, and Mocha actually ends up being our run killer, because if you don't stagger Mocha right away, she can just kind of jump around everywhere. Yeah. Oh, Pawn not knowing how to get through the snowflake patterns. So as you can see on Dream's side, you can actually just leaf combo through and be fine.
Yeah. He might know how to do it, but just doesn't feel comfortable doing it in the race.
True. Dream actually got a little bit lucky. Mocha came into his box, but was still considered staggered at the time, so didn't actually register any hurt onto him. Well, Pawn's getting good with no dives, but let's see if he can kill her quick enough. So a dive here, if you're doing it optimally, I believe is about 12 seconds of time loss.
Yeah, about that.
Or is it? I think it might be 19 here and 12 in Lubella too. Unless my timing's off. It's been a bit.
No, it's just about 12 seconds. Just the time that you can't do any damage to her.
Yeah.
There's like some small residual time loss, I guess, because your crystal seed runs out, but not that significant.
So you can tell a little bit of a difference here because the no dive on Pawn. He's got probably about a 10-second lead. 10 to 15 seconds at this point.
Yeah, something like that. We can expect Drim to kind of make up the difference with better movement and strats.
Mm-hmm.
Higher seeded runner at the moment.
It'll definitely be interesting. One of the neat things about getting into this run for anybody who's just kind of watching us for the first time is actually a pretty simple route to learn. There's not a lot to have to memorize on it because it's so short of a game. It really comes down to getting a decent time, is really just learning the boss fights and being able to go through those optimally. So once you can get the boss fights down, the route is easy enough to where you can get some pretty good times relatively quickly if you put the time into it. So it's not like this is a super intensive game to just learn or get into for the first time.
Ooh.
Taking the spike. First spike death.
Yeah,
that's gonna hurt.
Roll from a bit too close to the edge there. And we lost the spikes.
No closer thing there, so or no closer bell.
Yeah. So,
unfortunately. We'll switch
so
over to
this cutscene twice.
Probably lost about a minute of time there.
Yeah, it's about that. Just the cutscene alone is quite a huge time loss. And the race that he likes the cutscene so much he wanted to watch it twice.
I mean, it's not a bad character that you come across here, so. I don't think Dream saved either, so there's still a chance if for whatever reason he messes all this time can get recovered again, but it's going to take pretty big mess up at this rate.
Yeah, I don't think he does any like risky roll jumps or anything. Yeah, he's taking it really safe over here on this spike bit.
I wonder if he knows.
He might.
I'd be too focused in. He got a lot better hit on that enemy this time around. I remember him struggling with that in the first race. A little nervous that he was going to get hit by Frida there because he spawned pretty close to her.
Yeah.
Ducked just in time too, jeez. So that's something we didn't see in the first race, is Frida actually does have that chance to teleport. And that melee attack is one of the other reasons that a lot of runners sit back and spam the arrows, so you don't have to worry about having to dodge away from her trying to peck at you. All in all, not too bad of a fight. Much less dogs than last time.
Yeah. Just wants to make sure he gets the sparse thread, I think. Taking it a little slow.
Yeah, that's killer. If you leave a room before picking up the item actually just disappears. So you either have to go without it or fight everything all over again. And at that point, like, it's such a long time between saves going to Frida for the most part, just because there's nothing really great to save at. Yeah, everything takes...
The one underwater bell, but Drim did not take that.
Which is fair. Frida is safe enough if you choose to make her that, like, choose to play it safe, that you shouldn't ever really lose runs to Frida.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, typically not worth going for that. Just save right there.
If you sit in the corner like Fawn's doing, there's actually no way that you can get hit.
Unless you don't go up and stop this laser from charging up.
Right, yeah. That was another thing that we didn't see in the last one, I think.
I think Pawn had one laser charge in the last run.
So that big laser is actually like the best pattern you can get, because it lets you melee and charge up your arrows.
See, nope, he got lucky with laughs.
Well, we'll see. She still has time to die for sure.
That was good. Really nice RNG for that fight there.
Yeah, better luck this time than on the first fight.
Yep.
The laugh is actually the second worst pattern other than the dive, just because it gives her 2 chances to dive after that.
I didn't know that. I thought you could kill her before she had a chance to dive again.
No, because she can laugh and then dive immediately after that. She doesn't have to do a normal attack.
Okay. More cat movement now. Not gonna lie, this is what sold me on the game when I first started seeing it. So I can play as a cat throughout most of the run. Let's go.
And it's pretty nice.
I love the difference between the movements of the two, between the priestess form and the cat form, and how much that really does play into the run throughout. And how you really do need both. There are so many games out there, like, once you get a specific movement ability, only use that for the rest of the game, where this game does a really good job of, you have to use everything that you've come across so far throughout it in order to get through it quickest.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought about it that way, but like all the movement abilities and stuff you get kind of like compound on top of each other.
Like, even though the air dash is so important and helps you move faster, there's still certain rooms that you're not using it. Timing it for specific areas instead of just spamming it all the time. Oh, we got a
dive.
Bella dive. So this old man is one of my favorite people to talk to, because by the time that you're talking to him, you're obviously a cat at this point. And he's like really skeptical of you as you come across him. And one of his lines in there is like, "Oh, well, you seem sane enough," as he's talking to a cat. So, I mean...
I always wondered about that, because the game has like a shadowy projection of human form Kaho above the cat. Are the other characters able to see that?
I'm not really certain. I don't know that that necessarily ever gets explained. Or at least I haven't seen it explained anywhere. Maybe we'll have to get in touch with the developers and see what they say. Well, Dream found one of the hidden platforms in this area. Now we've got another category that is relatively heavily run. Well, kind of. Called All Vitalities. So there are vitality fragments, kind of like in any Zelda games, that can up your heart total. Or your health total, in this, as it were. And there are ivory bugs placed throughout the game as just kind of little hidden tokens. So there's a category that goes around collecting both of those. And there's a couple of different hidden platforms or little side secret entrances to different parts of rooms that will have those hearts or bugs hidden, which is pretty cool. It's a really neat run to go watch.
Kind of like Wall Chicken in Castlevania. Hit walls and expose new areas.
Yeah. So it's neat to see those runs, because instead of just going straight through the game like we are now, you actually really get to explore a large portion of the map.
Yeah, and the boss order is different as well for the optimal route, so that's interesting to see.
After much debate on that, determined that it was in fact a better route. Which I think is actually how the first speedruns used to do it for the any percent as well.
That's what I heard. I was not around for that though.
I wasn't either. The boss route has been pretty solid for the past 2.5 years at least.
Yeah, we need a lore master to tell us what happened in the early days of speedrunning this game.
Coming up on the Cinder Chambers again for Dream, going to the Arsonist fight. So one of the things that we didn't cover last time is you actually do have to talk. Kath will come up and talk to you after the Arsonist fight. And she wants you essentially to join her in helping liberate the city from the presence of the evil queen. But of course it's faster to say no, so you become enemies kind of with her. She just calls you a cockroach and you get to move on. Whereas if you say yes, there's like 5 or 6 other dialogue boxes that you have to go through.
Yeah. So Kath is a little helper here that just swings her sword every few seconds. She was doing a good job really before you showed up, though.
Right.
Off a third of Arsonist's health.
It's really fun because she can stagger the Arsonist, but at the same time, like you saw Drem there, you kind of want to go for melee attacks every now and again, especially after she warps, and
he really cornered himself there.
So, mechanic about that, she uses those fire orbs to teleport. However, they will never actually hit you. They will always stop right in front of you, so if you're patient enough for it, they will all collect right in front of you. You can step a little bit back and not have to worry about getting hit by that fire. But if you stagger yourself, kind of like he did there, they'll keep chasing you, and she'll always teleport to each single one of those and spawn those balls of fire, or the pillars of flame. Each time,
the orbs themselves can't hit you, or like they won't hit you if you just stand still. But like the pillar of fire that happens after she teleports can.
So like that, you want to wait and allow them. There's a second delay, so before they actually hit. Oh man, taking a hit. He's giving Pond a chance to catch up here.
Yeah, he's gonna be at Arsonist in just a short minute. He's gotta clean this up and actually finish up Arsonist here.
Right. Thankfully, this is probably the closest bell spot to any of the bosses, so he's not having to track through much of the area, but it's still not good to lose the time. Those little pink orbs, probably my least favorite attack that she does, because it's a lot more random on where she's going to get, or where those are going to fire out. So you can have one that just sprays and shoots super far away from her, and ends up like can really mess up your positioning on it, and you can just get hit unluckily by just kind of this positioning on those.
For sure, they just like shoot out at random speeds and heights. Like, there's different amounts that go like every direction. It's just a hassle. You usually see people just run away from them.
Mm-hmm. Well, Pond's having a
very safe.
Yeah, it's like he's having a safe fight, but definitely playing a little bit slower.
Yeah.
So definitely clean fight. But he doesn't have the best positioning here, so now Kath has to run up and talk to him, which she thankfully wasn't too far away. But he's not as close to the next stream as ideally you would like to be. So I didn't know this, but apparently people have a cat RNG for the cat witch here. So how many different kind of cats there are?
There's 7 cats in the background there, and the color that the cats are is actually RNG for some reason. So we like to just mess around and say like, oh, there's 2 black cats, that's bad luck, or something like that.
I hadn't heard about that until the tournament started.
Well, we'll see what happens there. I think he had 2 black cats or 3.
I think there were like 4. All the ones that were sleeping in the background were black, I think.
Only 1 black cat per pawn.
Mm-hmm. Pond got a little bit luckier. Oh, there are 2. There's 1 on the floor as well.
Oh, there is. Goodbye,
Fennel. Finnel is a little bit harder than we make it look. If you mess up the Bachman timing, she'll summon some lightning down on you, so you can still get hit, even though we've got her pretty well optimized. But as long as you make sure to space out your Bachman patches and not worry about like timing it right as she's coming out of the transformation phase, then you're usually good.
Yeah, there's a lot of like item switching stuff, and you have to position yourself well. See if Pawn can make it through easily. Yeah, he should be fine.
Yep.
So
might have been a little late. Oof. He was almost too late on that. So you saw the lightning flash, and thankfully she got stunned out before the animation was able to go off. I mean, he does not like that bat today. Pretty sure he got hit by it both times now.
Unlucky.
Guess we didn't talk about the sealed win the first time through here. The reason that we have to go up, there's an item that we're going up for at the top here that allows you to actually unlock the leaf upgrade. So normally you could just go down right there and get to the next boss, but we have to take that slight detour to come up here and grab the sealed win first. It allows us to unlock the windmill to unlock the tea leaf. Because we all know that tea leaves are stronger than maple leaves.
I never like noticed before that, because the color of your leaf changes when you swing after you upgrade your leaf, but it's still like in the shape of a maple leaf. And then when you go in your key items, it's not in the shape of a maple leaf. It's
right.
Just like a normal green leaf.
Yep. Actually, just switch it over.
Lazy developers.
No, if I go that far, but I'm amazed at how much effort and how clean this game is for an indie game. Oh, so Drim got really bad roll luck that time. Able to recover pretty well.
Oh, almost got cornered by Magnolia there.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous for him. A little bit
time.
of the slow, yeah. Magnolia's easy because she'll get stunned out of pretty much any threat as long as you play it safe. So you can just sit there and kind of spam arrows on her and be okay.
She also doesn't move,
yeah,
other than teleporting, which is very telegraphed.
The only thing you really have to watch out for are those orbs that come down when she teleports sometimes. Just make sure that you don't position yourself around those. Other than that, you can play it pretty safe. But it's always just nerve-wracking going into a fight knowing what strategy you want to play in the practiced fights versus having to kind of improvise like that.
Let's see how Lupia goes for Pawn.
No rolls is pretty good.
Ooh, nice.
Didn't quite get good.
He's going to choose to reset to get the heavy abs still.
Another thing that we didn't really cover, there's in both Magnolia's opening and Finnel's opening, there's a cutscene where they talk to you for a little bit. If you just menu, like by pressing start, and then press start again to stop the menuing, you'll actually cancel through that cutscene. So we actually, going into Lupia, cast the Bachman patches first, right out the frame there, so that after we cancel the menu, she's automatically hit right away to try and reduce the amount of time that she has to be able to roll towards you. He got a lot better of a hit that time and just was too far away for the thread.
But still got to clean it up with the second thread.
Yeah. Ooh. Just rolled away in time.
Alright, so DreamFox on the other side just picked up the leaf upgrade and is heading into Kar's castle.
Pretty smooth sailing from here for him.
Yeah, not too many roadblocks. There's a few spikes that are kind of dangerous if you try and roll jump over them, but DreamFox, you know, taking it easy, not taking any risks.
So normally with this, the way that the developer intended you to be able to figure out which clone was when they split, they'll fire a little orb at you. One of them will be pure white, and one of them will bounce back and forth between white and blue, and that's how you're supposed to be able to identify the two. But
And
we
also
always just go for the lowest.
The indicator that shows up that Angel's about to attack is red for the real one and white for the fake one.
Oh, I've never noticed that. So Drim missed the missed one of the threads, but thankfully you deal enough damage with the leaf upgrade and the missive to not lose too much time on that.
Yeah. Just one extra cycle, not too bad.
I always find it pretty much every pattern I've seen, except for one, the real Angel is the one on the right. I'm pretty sure there's only one pattern that she'll split in two.
Yeah.
On the end where it's actually the leftmost one.
Yeah, the only good pattern, or like the best pattern, is when she's on the left. And, I don't know what's going on screen.
Yeah, that's what I just noticed. Right, we got one more queen fight. Let's see if we can see a true first cycle. Proper first cycle, I should say, on phase 1.
I believe in Fox. I think we'll get it.
A little bit late.
Oh no. Had the timing and everything right. Just shot the arrows the wrong way.
That's why I think it's better on normal to just go for, or not on normal, on easy to go for the slower strat. And just take that hit. It's only like a half second that you lose on it. But I can understand in other categories you can't do it, so. And most of these racers, I want to say, are normal or higher level runners.
Yeah. DreamFox is actually mostly plays insane, as far as I know.
Time. Still managing a sub 26. GG to Mr. DreamFox.
GG.
Storm here briefly lost power is what we're seeing. Oh. That's a bummer.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but the way that DreamFox finished it out, there was pretty much no chance for Pon to get back into it.
Yeah, there wasn't. He didn't make any mistakes, and there was enough of a time difference from there, so that was it. I'm not sure if DreamFox wanted to hop in here for a little bit of an interview afterwards.
So, unfortunate ending for Pon, with his power cut. But you will have another chance in the bracket of alternative success.
That's one way of putting it. Yep, so we do have a double elimination bracket going on. Thankfully, no runners just out. And the best of 3 is nice to help keep any sort of random RNG like Lubella lives or anything like that from truly just cutting you out of the tournament. Which I'm sure is going to be a lot more important as we kind of see the brackets progress.
We've been doing like a lot of races just for practice, and even like the top runners who have like 21s and 22s will, have their occasional 26 or 27 races.
Oh yeah,
anything can happen.
It's the nature of the game, like I was saying earlier. I mean, we have to perfect each and every boss fight, except for one of them. I mean, you're going to mess up at some point, so. Especially in the middle of races, it's hard to keep that consistent nature going every single time of getting every single boss down. So it's cool. I like it. I think it makes for a very interesting tournament setup. And as we see playing out, I mean, for the most part, the better runners are still going to advance. But it definitely allows for some room for upset or to allow close races regardless of potential skill level.
Did you message Fox to see if he wanted to join us?
I'm about to.
Oh, okay. I just wasn't sure if you got a message yet.
Yeah, he should be joining us here shortly. We can talk to him.
Hello.
So how's it feel to get through your first tournament race?
Oh, it feels good.
Had
It
some-
has been really fun. I have been quite nervous today, but yeah, it has been really fun.
Yeah, there's nothing like the pressure of actually having that tournament on the line. Get those nerves going a little bit.
Yeah. And doesn't help when you start missing roll jumps or other easy movement tricks.
He's sitting there through that's the nice thing about the like it starts off so calmly to allow you to get those mechanics going through, at least at the beginning. You're not just thrust into like, okay, I've got to like frame perfect these like 7 intensive tricks.
Yeah.
But how much are you gonna go and practice Arsonist now after getting hit in both runs?
God. I have to practice it quite a bit before the next race, at least. Yeah.
I think she's the sneaky run killer of any of the bosses. Like everyone yells at Lupiar dives or Lupiar rolls and Lubella dives and everything, and then Arsonist is just sitting there reminding you, "Hey, I can hit you in like 7 different ways, and you're not expecting any of them."
Yeah. I don't usually have trouble with Arsonist. Like, yeah, this shouldn't have happened. This is what I would say.
I mean, you were still able to post sub 26 times, which, in my opinion, for race times is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really happy with my times. But I pretty much killed myself both of those, or all those times on Arsonist. So yeah, just need to get better. It's not like the Lupiar RNG when she triple rolls or something. So yeah.
Yeah, you had a little bit on that second fight or the second race that you had to double thread for Lupiar.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of your queen fights went exactly how you were wanting it to. But all in all, very, very solid races, especially for a first round and first kind of taste of tournament action for anybody.
Yeah.
Next up, you're going to be playing Navix. How do you feel about that? You're going to practice some more or just continue grinding World of Warcraft?
It would be quite a bit of World of Warcraft grinding. Sadly.
Sadly.
Yeah.
I don't know how to interpret that.
It's like doing it, but not happy.
Mostly that. This game is just so fun to run, and I don't really have the time that I want to put into practice, and so...
I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. It takes a lot, especially once you start getting towards the higher end, to really start shaving off time.
Oh yeah. After the tournament is over, I think I will go back to Insane and Avid because they are more fun categories.
Hey now, some of us enjoy our little thing or that.
Yeah. True. I don't value my sanity. I don't value my sanity that much, so Insane it is.
Has it been difficult kind of making the switch over from Insane to the easier runs? Like, have you noticed yourself tripping up on menus more often, or like just not?
I have become a lot better with menuing because I've actually practiced menuing.
Okay.
So, but I'm getting a bit lazy with trying, like, oh yeah, I can just tank these enemies. I don't really need to be 100% focused all the time.
Right. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So there is a lot of that, and normal and easy is a lot more. It's a lot less stressful to play because playing on Insane, any mistake kills you, so you're on edge all the time. Right. So it has been really calming to run on the easy and normal.
Yeah, because I know we say that you can get hit in Lubella 2 going through this tournament, but on other modes you really can't still. Like normally you can take 1 hit and be okay, but any other mode she still one-shots you, so.
Yeah, that boss is usually really scary, but now he's quite easy. If the most yeah, the most dangerous thing you can do on her is lose time, not a run, pretty much. So.
Well, as we've seen, I think in earlier races, you can still roll yourself off the edge and die.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Which is always just depressing. It's like I killed her, but I died still, so I have to restart.
Yeah.
That was good. I'm excited to see the next round of races and see how your fight up against Navix fares.
Yes. Yeah, that will be a tough fight. So I will try to get in some amount of practice at least before that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We also have Pawn. My
Hello,
boy.
friends.
Recovered from your power outage?
Physically, I suppose. Emotionally, I don't know.
Take a little bit of a hit from that.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea where DreamFox was, and I assume I was significantly behind, so I'm not too worried about it. But it would have been nice to finish the race out.
Right.
But, here we are. That's okay.
It was good. You got the quick kill on Adia both times, which was pretty impressive seeing the pause buffering, even though she walked on you.
Yeah, I just learned that strat yesterday. I normally just do the YOLO strat, but I figured since I was doing races, I would learn the pause buffer strat, which I'm actually finding pretty consistent, but it just feels slower every time. So I don't know if I'll do it in like my regular runs, but
that's fair.
It's definitely a cool strat. I do like it. It feels definitely a lot easier because you have the audio cue as well. So.
Yeah, that's something I'll have to get in there and see. I wasn't aware of any sort of audio cue on that, so that's kind of cool to have found a pause buffer type for something like that.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Just the only sad thing was taking the spike, the rolling into the spikes and disappointing grave.
Yeah, that was so bad. And the thing is,
you were actually ahead at that point too.
Oh, don't tell me that. You see that cutscene is just so gorgeous.
It's amazing, right?
I had to watch it again. I couldn't just watch it once. No, but it's actually pretty unfortunate, yeah. But that's the risk you take when you try to do a roll jump. Actually, I think I fail the roll jump and then just roll, like go a little bit forward and then just roll. I think that's what happened.
You definitely you were too close to the edge and you just rolled.
Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah, I was normally what I do there is I like fall into that little the lowest point there and then I just roll jump. And I think I missed that. I don't know what exactly I did to mess that up, but then I just was like, oh well, I'll just go for it again. What could be the harm? And that was the harm. But it's all right. Got to see the gorgeous cutscene twice, so can't complain. The first run, I was kind of bummed because since I got hit on Lubella, which very rarely happens to me. Like I generally don't get hit there, but just kind of one of those. I was pretty nervous in the first run, to be honest. But that was so funny because after that, I literally had like 7 gold splits, but my run was so terrible. It was pretty funny.
Win some, you lose some on that farm. Thankfully, you've got another match coming up here against GFM, so you've got a chance to redeem some of these.
I hear he's been grinding. I hear he's been grinding hard. So.
Dude, everybody in the community has been racing hard.
That is true. Yeah.
It's actually been really cool. I've really enjoyed popping into the Discord and seeing everybody be like, "Oh, hey, I'm racing now," and seeing like 3, 4, 5 of you guys all start to go at it. So that's been cool from an observer standpoint to see how much effort like all of the runners that are in this tournament have been putting into it. It's not just like nobody's just taking this easy or just like, oh yeah, no, I'll show up to game day and see what happens. Like everybody's really grinding it out, which has been cool and I think has made for some really fun and entertaining races so far.
Yeah, agreed for sure. Of the races I've seen, like it definitely seems like everybody has been relatively clean, like definitely been cleaned up. Like you can definitely tell they've been grinding hard, so it's been cool for sure.
Is there anything in particular you're wanting to try and practice going into the next run, or do you feel like you've got some pretty good strats, just need to execute a bit better?
I definitely am a bit hazy on some of my routing in the later half of the game. I've been cleaning it up. Like, that's mostly what I've been grinding recently, is just like cleaning up my routing and starting to go for some different strats in the late game, and just kind of like getting my routing really not very flexible, I guess. Just kind of like know exactly what I'm going to be doing in every single screen in the late game. Whereas before it was like, yeah, I'll just, roll jump, melee cancel, air dash, and just kind of spam that, and we'll get to the end of the screen eventually. And, so I've been just cleaning that up and things like that. And I saw some gains for sure, but just going to kind of continue with that. And I kind of want to start doing some more, I like to call them big boy strats on some of the bosses. Like, my Frida strat is pretty low level. I pretty much just spam arrows in the corner unless he's going to do that one pattern where I get to go melee him. But besides that, I just kind of spam arrows in the corner, and I know some of the better runners do a much more involved strategy to try to combat like the teleports and stuff like that. So definitely want to start getting into that kind of thing, and hope to see some better times due to that.
Yeah, that was something with Frida, seeing people take more of the melee approach. So I know I always question how much time I guess it does save on that, because I know there is the chance of the teleports and having to watch out for those melee attacks of hers. But all in all, it's a lot of fun watching you guys run these races. And
yeah, it was good. I had a fun time.
Time might not say that it was terribly close, but both of them were really solid races, just marred by a couple of unfortunate time loss mistakes. So
apparently Navik says that if you get 3 teleports and you're meleeing properly, you still save time. That seems
interesting. Okay.
That seems pretty good. But yeah. I mean, I haven't watched. I closed the stream while I was racing because maybe it's in my head, but I feel that when I watch a stream and also stream at the same time, it gives me some lag. I didn't want that, so
I don't know how anybody could focus on another stream and to race at the same time.
Yeah. I was just like, I'll just close it. So I am not sure how close they were, but I definitely had fun running, and looking forward to watching the races VOD. So definitely, just good times. GG's to DreamFox for sure.
Yeah, it was a very good job, I think, by both runners here. Got one more first round matchup to go before we start going into the losers brackets and round 2 of winners brackets. It should be a lot of really good races.
And when is that scheduled for?
We've got Ducky versus Rhett. Oh, God. I would have to check. I think they've got it scheduled sometime soon.
It's on Friday.
On Friday? Okay.
Cool.
So we got a little bit of a break before we'll have another run going up, unfortunately. But hopefully you can get some good Momo action going for you guys after that.
Yeah, it seems like everybody is really itching to just like get their matches played now. Like, I think at first people were kind of hesitant, and then now like everybody's like, yeah, let's go. I want my race tomorrow. Let's go. They're just like hype as hell. So it's been really good seeing the energy in the community, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I enjoy it. It's been fun to see the Discord so active and everybody excited over the tournament, which is something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. I'm glad we're finally getting a chance to actually go through with it for everybody, and hopefully providing some entertaining content for those out there, both who know the game and who don't.
Definitely. And also I hope people are seeing the game and being exposed to the game and deciding to run it themselves. I saw in the Discord earlier some people completed their first runs today, like 2 runners. So that's really cool to see. Always good to get fresh blood in the community.
Yeah, it's not too bad of a game to pick up. This is my first speedrun ever, and I know a lot of people think this was kind of their first taste at speedrunning. So a lot of fun mechanics to the game. Nothing that's just going to break your back or cause you to give up over and over, except for maybe Loop Year and learning her. But aside from that, no, it's just a fun game to pick up and learn.
Yeah, and it's quite short and easy. There aren't a lot of tricks. So. Yeah.
Cool movement as well in this game. You know, that's usually my big standard for games is like, do I like the movement? If yes, then I usually just like the game. And this game definitely has really good movement and pretty interesting movement mechanics. It's cool how in this game the way you move progresses as you collect fragments and cat form and whatnot. So that's always cool how that kind of changes the dynamic of how you get across screens.
Awesome. Well, is there any last comments from either of the runners? Anything you guys felt about the races that we haven't talked about, or anything you guys wanted to say to each other before we head out?
Just GG's, man.
Yeah,
you too, man. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck in the
man.
losers bracket.
Thank you. I will do my best. Like I said, I hear GFM has been grinding pretty hard, so hopefully I'll keep up.
That's awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys both schedule. Hopefully I can get here and get to talk to you guys again in the future if my schedule allows. So
yeah, man. Thank you guys for commentating. I appreciate you giving your time to it.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of fun. It's exciting for me, who's been away for the game for a little bit, to get back in, try and feel part of the community again. So
right.
But good games to you guys, and we'll be back again at least on Friday with the last bit of the first round race if we don't start up losers bracket round 2 before then. So
right.
I appreciate all the time that you guys put into today, and guess we'll see you guys again next time.
See ya.
See ya.